All right, so this next topic is on the gradient. So the gradient tells you the maximum rate of change, which includes both a magnitude and a direction for a scalar function of two variables. So in other words, it's going to turn this scalar function into a vector field that exists just on the xy plane. So to write it out, mathematically, the gradient is the del operator, which you could say is like a vector type thing consisting of the partial derivatives of x, y, or of x, y, and z if it's a three variable function. And then you multiply that by the function. So in other words, you're just taking the derivatives of that function. You're just taking the various partial derivatives of the function, and you put that into a new vector, a vector field. So a scalar function of two variables, in other words, f of x and y, will turn into a vector field that only exists on the xy plane with vectors that only point in the x and y directions. And this can scale up, though, to however many variables. So if it's a three variable function, you're going to have f of x, y, and z as your initial scalar function, and then that's going to turn into a vector field that exists in the x, y, and z plane, and that point in the x, y, and or z directions. So conceptually, this vector field consists of vectors that point in the maximum rate of change. So in the xy direction, if we're thinking about just the 2D version, it's going to be for any xy point on the scalar function. So we can get the max rate of change at a certain xy point just by plugging that into the vector field equation. Just plug that point into the vector field equation. And the magnitude of that rate of change is just going to be the magnitude of the vector at that point. So in other words, just square the vector components, sum them, and then take the square root of all that. So the Pythagorean theorem. And a note on vector fields versus vector functions, just to eliminate confusion. A vector function, aka a vector valued function, is similar to a parametric curve in that it takes one input and gives two outputs. A vector field, on the other hand, takes two inputs and gives two outputs. So that's that.